human limit is here. But the AI, we still don't know. In 5 years or so, we're probably not going to see a traditional CGI company again. That's just gone.
Would humans even get to contribute in such a society?
We don't care if part of our process is being replaced. As long as it delivers and it does the job better than we do, that's all that matters. And now we can think of how we can rearrange human expertise in order to accommodate for AI expertise. And architecture is not going to be spared either. All creative domains now are in jeopardy of the current extent of human involvement.
Do you see a future where architecture offices are smaller but a lot more efficient or doing a lot more because of AI?
Team of interns can churn out quite a few options, but then today's day and age, we have team of AI churning out quantity of options. We always thought of digital tools as an extension of the human architect, but today it's almost like an extension of the human brain. It has creativity. It has the ability to problem solve.
So would that also mean that it's a bleak future for people who want to get into architecture?
If you're not in the top 10% working as the ideators, as the mastermind behind the architectural profession, if you do not understand how to use AI, then you're probably potentially on the train to be eliminated.
Welcome back everyone to the Blessed Arc podcast. I've not done a podcast in a while, but I'll be doing them more frequently now. Our guest today is Tim Fu. Now, Tim is on the forefront of the AI revolution currently happening in the field of architecture and design. He used to work at Zaha Hadid Architects, but in a small amount of time, he's not only opened his own firm, Studio Tim Fu, but also garnered a team of brilliant architects and designers. In a short amount of time, he's garnered projects from all over the world, and he's also started working with companies like Nvidia. And very recently, he has revealed a project that is completely made using AI. As he puts it, AI has been used in all design stages of this project. And it's actually going towards construction. So soon we will have a built project where AI played a very prominent role. But what does this mean for the field of architecture if AI is progressing that quickly? This and many more things about AI, its current capabilities, and what it will be able to do in the future is what we'll be discussing in today's podcast. So without further ado, let's go on and have a conversation with Tim Fu. So hey Tim, welcome back to the channel. I was just checking, we did our last interview in June of 2023, which of course seems like ages ago, but in AI terms seems like a whole century ago. So first of all, welcome back to the channel.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to see you again. How have you been?
I've been good. And so even though we've not done a podcast episode in very long, we did meet last year. And when we met, you actually invited me to the opening of your new office. So I actually want to start before we even dive into any AI related questions. I actually want to start there. The last time we did the interview, you were still at ZHA. So from there, now that you've opened your own firm, you have your own team. So I want to know what was that, taking that step like, and how did you know it was time for you to now go out on your own?
When I was working at Zaha Hadid Architects, it was really exciting to be, among the best, the experts, to learn from them and understand how the industry works, and then also understand how to apply a lot of advanced strategies in computation to the construction and feasible side of architecture. And so with those knowledge, then came AI, and I wanted to do a lot more with the intersection between AI and how we can, continue our legacy of parametric design, of advanced computation. But at that time, I also realized that perhaps we need to rethink how architecture could be practiced. So I was really eager to test out, alternative strategies, from organizing company structure to understanding how we can arrange a design team that is strategically integrated with architecture and AI in a way that's never done before. And because all practice right now, is pre-AI architectural practice, it was the right time for me to believe that we could start to establish a new way of practicing post-AI, meaning that a lot of ways of which we practice could be put into question, and now we can think of how we can rearrange human expertise in order to accommodate for the current AI expertise, which has overtaken a lot of our traditional values and assets.
Speaking of that, one of the reasons that I had actually contacted you for this interview was your recent project that you have revealed, which is the housing project in Slovenia. So, which, as you say, is the first project to use AI on all design stages. Firstly, I wanted to ask you, what does that mean, using AI on all design stages?
Yeah, I mean, it is probably the most integrated project with AI that we've ever set our hands on because the technology is so recent and we've basically just embraced it completely. Meaning things like right from the get go, large language model, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Llama, the use of large language model to research data, to assess data, and to provide summaries of delivery options and design directions, research heritage, research environment, research strategic regional construction techniques. These are things that AI can do a lot better than a small team of humans in some degree. So with the ability to use large language model as well as our human team of architects, this combination allowed us to really broaden the spectrum of what we can accomplish within a very short time. And a project like the Slovenian estate project, we also have a team of local architects that work with us that are specialized in regional construction. And we also have consultants in various sectors. So for a project like that, for a big team to come together to do such a project, I think it really highlights the potential that AI can have in collaboration with a group of different experts. So again, right from the get-go, we've been using large language model to assess the entire project. So while that's going on, we're also using diffusion model, things like, we already heard plenty of times, Midjourney, DALL-E, and Stable Diffusion, and many more in today's day and age. We have so many different applications we're using for using diffusion AI, and that's part of the design process that can help create visuals, create design iterations. All of those things feed into our design process. So we are doing that. And then, of course, then again comes the technical, where we use AI for strategic analysis. So every stage so far, we've been using AI, and we aim to carry that forward in the later stages as well.
Now, Tim's workflow heavily relies on the use of AI. And not just Tim, in a survey done last year, close to 50% of all firms in the UK used AI in some manner or another. And that number has only increased all around the world. Slowly, people are understanding that AI is here to make your workflow more efficient and faster. Today, so many software and apps are trying to introduce AI into their interface. But when we talk about rendering, the very first to do this was the D5 render. D5 saw the potential in this new technology and adopted it quickly. Today they have 10 AI tools and AI-powered real-time rendering capabilities to streamline the design and rendering process. These include text to 3D for 3D modeling, AI-generated texture maps for realistic-looking materials, AI Ultra HD and AI Make Seamless to enhance resolution or to remove seams and textures in one click, AI Atmosphere Match, which can use your reference images to automatically match the ambience, AI Style Transfer to transform a rendering to a chosen style like cartoon or watercolor for easy presentation, AI Enhancer to enhance rendering details including textures, characters and lighting automatically, and finally AI Motion Blur and Painting to boost post-production directly in D5 without external tools. Basically, with all of these tools, D5 offers you a solution where all your needs are met within one software, so you wouldn't need to invest in multiple apps. And as they keep releasing newer updates, they're all packed with even more AI capabilities. Now, especially for architects, D5 is tailored to reduce repetitive work, giving you more time to use and grow your creativity. And that is why 8 out of the 10 largest architecture firms in the world now use D5 as their preferred software. You too can try out D5 Render today. Their community version is completely free to use, and I will leave a link to it in the description. So do check out D5 Render today and take your renders to a whole new level with the power of AI. And now let's get back to our conversation. If I'm remembering correctly, in that article I'd written, as I was reading, you would say that AI was a co-creator on this project, right?
Yeah, AI is much more than a tool at this stage. Like, it's incredible because, we always thought of digital tools as something, as an extension of the human architect. But today it's almost like, I would say, an extension of the human brain. It has creativity. It has the ability to problem solve. and it has the ability to do deep research and then assess a huge quantity of information that the human brain does not have the ability to do so. And with that advantage, that feeds back to the human team, and we continue to assess the data, curate the data. So in many ways, we are like curators of this creative cohesion of human and artificial intelligence team as a combination. So very much so, it is definitely co-piloting and co-creating with the AI.
But when we say that, and I also want to read out one of the statements that was in the article, which says that this level of computational integration marks a turning point in architectural history, demonstrating that AI is not just a tool for acceleration, but a structural shift in how design decisions are made. But if we are bringing AI up to a level that it is being involved in design decisions as well, it brings us back to the age-old question. Do you think there will come a point where AI programs will be able to make decisions better than human beings can?
So yeah, this is the type of question that's been asked in all fields, in all industry when it comes to AI, right? And we have to face it head on. The fact is we are in the post-AI era now. And the fact is AI is excelling in various tasks better than humans. We are gradually seeing it to take over our expertise more and more in different domains. And architecture is not going to be spared either. All creative domains now are, in jeopardy of the current extent of human involvement. I think it's more of a question of where do we want to be as humans? What are our values? Because first of all, it's no longer production. Production of visuals, production of diagrams, collecting data, or even modeling in 3D. We are starting to get AI that can do all of those menial tasks, I will call it. But I think the creative decision to decide where to build, what to build, and what resonates with the regional communities, with that adheres to sustainable values and human values and aesthetic values. I think those are fundamentally human decisions. So I do see that we are still in the pilot seat of this entire endeavor that is creative, of the creative domain. But the machine will be able to take over a lot of the iterative process, giving us a lot more options. Something that we did traditionally, team of interns can, churn out quite a few options. But then today's day and age, we have team of AI churning out quantity of options. So yes, certain of those tasks are being replaced, but we are the drivers, we are the directors, we are the curators, and it is just very essential for us to maintain that role, I believe, in architecture.
What you said about interns, that what a team of interns could do now, a team of AI platforms can do. But that would also mean that with time, you would require, let's say, if you have an office, less and less people to do that amount of work because AI can sort of take over. You've already touched upon the fact that this is not just happening in architecture, this is happening in industries around the world. But do you see a future where architecture offices are smaller but a lot more efficient or doing a lot more because of AI?
100%. And more than that, I think we are a manifestation of that. We are a team of around 10 people at the moment. And really, we've been, side by side with a lot of the large firms, working on the same projects and working on with the same clients as my previous office as well. It's a very exciting field to be in and be in. Definitely, on average, we are the youngest office. I can tell you that right away because of, everywhere we go, it seems to be the case. But we are able to compete because of how productive we can become when we utilize AI to such an extent. And our turnover, the speed of how we operate, and the efficiency, and the high quantity of results, I think is what gave us the edge as well. So a typical company would go through a process and deliver a few options, whereas we can start with a plethora of options from day one to day two and then discuss with clients, and then to curate the options into a certain set towards what the client wants, and then use AI throughout the entirety to produce it in breakneck speed. So I think we are currently very competitive, and that's really what gave us the edge. Being able to come out of Zaha Hadid right away and start. You met me, I think, not even a year ago, right? In our office opening. So it hasn't been a year since I opened this physical office, and we're already 10. So you could just imagine this is not something very typical of in an architectural domain. So I think our rapid growth is due to our openness to embrace technologies like AI, and we intend to continue to do so and continue to grow, because we're expanding into different sectors now, and we want to really see where AI takes us.
But that at the same time makes me hopeful of newer different things and newer possibilities. But at the same time, this also reminds me, and we touched upon the fact that what you could do with a much larger team, you're now doing with a much smaller team and AI apps. So that would also mean that over time we would just require less architects in the office. So would that also mean that it's a bleak future for people who want to get into architecture?
Yeah, I mean, this is the same sort of the same comment has been said by Sam Altman as well. When you ask them about overall in the fields, how is a human going to be dispersed? Because yes, we still need a top 5 or 10% of tip-top talents in every industry to tell the AI what to do, to control it. And yes, 90%, the majority of the workforce, who are especially responsible for production, communications, and everything in between, that's going to be heavily reduced because AI can take over. So yeah, I will agree with the sentiment that we are going to have a reduced workforce. We are going to have potentially less jobs in architecture itself, because I can only see that if you're not in the top 10% working as the ideators, as the mastermind behind the architectural profession, then if you do not understand how to use AI, if you're not in an AI oriented office and try to adapt to it as soon as you can, then you're probably potentially on the train to be eliminated in the later stage. And that has happened in the past. It's not something new. When CAD and digital softwares were invented, the digitization of our domain has also just eliminated a lot of the traditional architects that drew in pen and paper, and that was a cataclysmic shift in that profession, and the new era of architects arisen from that. We're able to do a lot of things a lot better, a lot faster, and we definitely expect to see the very same in today's post-AI era.
Coming back to your project, so as you said that AI was involved in much of the design, all stages of design of that project. So now that it goes into construction, would AI also be involved in that particular front? Because when we talk about architecture, we say 30% of the job is actually designing stuff. 70% of it is actually getting it built. Do you see an integration of AI getting into the construction field as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, we see it right away already. From anything like parametric structure to analysis of deformation of the resultant construction. For example, we see drone scan now that is able to use AI to correlate the spatial data directly into a digital twin model, right? And that technology allows us to analyze construction feasibility, analyze the deformation of the results, analyze various construction procedures that can be used in conjunction with various AI softwares. We are currently working with different collaborators in the construction industry as well. One of our goal is trying to bridge the gap between design and fabrication and construction, and I think one of the interesting fields is also BIM. Using BIM, the middle ground, to bridge together our building information right from the concept stage to translate that into feasible building information models, and from there to directly link that to construction. I know various other companies have their own workflows as well, but for us, we are working on such a workflow that allows us to directly correlate our assessments and our data directly to construction results. So I think that is an interesting field that we're getting on as our stage of our construction move forward. Right now, because we just started our company last year, you can see a lot of the projects are in the late concept stage or early concept stage, and they're getting into the next stages, detailing and construction. So we are moving forward with that. Our language model also has an understanding of how the project is progressing. So we're really looking to tackle these challenges head on as we continue to push AI in the later stages of construction.
What are the current AI softwares that you think are doing quite well, and for different things, for rendering, for analysis, for that you are currently using for your projects?
Yeah, I think we don't have, a particular inclination towards one or two tools. It's huge set of an array of tools that we use depending on the task involved. So, just from our legacy of what we've been done in the past, I taught mid-journey courses where it was a tool that was really good for the early ideation phase. And as we move on, you want to create things that is more following your geometries. Then there's things like Stable Diffusion and all the other tools that we can use to follow a 3D model. And then you have methods of rendering with AI. Now there's a ton of AI rendering softwares. So from that, and even like using Photoshop to post-process your renders, and Photoshop in itself has AI and feels like that. So it's kind of everywhere at every stage of our design process. Of course, there's also algorithmic tools that we use for optimization, like evolutionary algorithms, genetic algorithms that optimizes for single or multi-objectives, structural optimization, massing optimization, and the beginning of bin modeling process. So I think, a lot of different AI tools is right now partitioned into different part of the process. But our goal is to create that ultimate synergy between all process. And that's why something like large language model is very useful in this context, because it's able to, again, have multimodal access to the different data that you have, and is able to string together a logic. And if you train it well, it's able to replicate and repeat this human design decision-making process. So we're hoping to really streamline this creative process so that later on it's a lot more automated.
The experiments that I was talking about that you also share on your social media. So I was going through your profile. One of the things that I saw was titled Urban GPT, where you were showcasing how you're using those AI tools to now also think about things at an urban level. So are we seeing, because till now when we were talking about AI, we of course most of the conversation, especially in the field of architecture, was geared towards renders, was geared towards visuals. And then when we came to individual buildings, we saw, AI getting more sophisticated, helping us design better. But have we also come to a level where AI can also do, let's say, a macro level and go into detail, but at a much larger level than just a single small project?
I think AI right now is capable of pretty much every scale. There is not a specific scale limitation. When you scale up a project, you have macro decision making, and all those parameters and decisions can be very much boiled down to numbers, optimization parameters. So, for example, what you've seen with Urban GPT, as you said, we've created this system where we tie natural language commands to urban design. And right now it's still like a primitive prototype, but the idea behind it is that we want us to be able to speak to it like it's an urban designer naturally, and it's able to provide not just visuals, but these are raw 3D data, which is featuring both parcels, land utilization, using calculating some circulation, creating urban grid, and it's also subdividing the parcels into buildings and heights and the different distribution of programs within the buildings. And the idea is that technically we can keep boiling it down further and further, more detailed. Right now our limitation is compute. Our limitation is the requirement of different data necessary to make these decisions, because the more numbers and more involved we get the AI, the more data and the types of data, the more complicated it gets. So we are seeing right now we're hitting bottom with AI currently, but the thing is AI is developing. Every month or so a new GPT, for example, is released, or DeepSeek, or competitors in China. We're able to use better and better AIs to do more, input more data and more complex data. And because we're not building for today, we're building for the future. So we're creating the streamline because we assume there will be a day where we can provide huge complex data sets and allow it to generate macro scale urban plan with even the architecture potentially designed individually and calculated. We believe in that because that's the trajectory we're currently on. We are riding the Moore's law right now, going up of super intelligence of AI. Like we are right now at the AGI level, where there's an understanding of general intelligence when it comes to how AI can think and perceive problems and solve problems. And because it's moving so fast, we are pretty confident that it's going to one day take over much more complex decision-making process, better than humans, better than architects, better than urbanists and master planners. And it's going to be expert in all of those fields combined. And we believe that, so we're just building the system. We want to be not the architect of the building itself at this point, but the architect of the process, because we believe in the process. And the process is much as like we believe in nature. If nature is powerful, is able to optimize things, we want to create a natural process, but using synthetic machines to also proliferate these ideas of emergent intelligence and architecture that's going to be superior than any individual human can think of, because human limit is here, but the AI, we still don't know.
But do you think in this future where the AI is sophisticated enough to take over a lot of things, do you think there would still be any space and scope for individual expression? Would everything be very, very data based? Would humans even get to contribute in such a society?
It's a very good question. I think it's 100% yes, because human cares about other humans. There's multiple examples I can give. When the computer took over the human when it comes to the game of chess, right? It's able to calculate a lot better than a human. The humans still play chess with each other. Like, that game hasn't died because of it, and it's still a form of human expression. And it's still an intellectual endeavor between other humans. Another example is when the camera was invented, we didn't stop painting. We have lost the job of portrait painters for the most part. Painting became a human expression of human artistry. And today we can also generate AI art as well. But that didn't stop humans from painting. In fact, I know a lot of artists now, because we're in the creative community of AI meta creators, for example, and I speak with a lot of them, and they actually embrace AI now, many of them, as a way to, create ideas, to come up with different approaches, and to explore iterations, and then they go back to painting as well. So they invite AI into that process, but it still allows them to express themselves. And also there's a new breed of AI artists, you can call it, that comes out. And I know it's very controversial, and some people don't call them artists or anything, but I think just like camera, AI is a tool that allows the human creativity to shine. When camera was invented, so many people just said that, oh, it's so easy, you just click a button. Like, we had this interview in the past where I talked about this, but this analogy applies throughout to today, where it's not about the ease of something, it's about how well you can use it and how well you can accomplish a specific task with it. For our company, we are trying to hire very unique and talented individuals, and that's very difficult to do in the post-AI era, because traditional portfolios won't even work for us. What is AI generated, what is not? Did you do this with a team, or did you create this on your own? For us, we like to have the recruits come in and work with us for a bit before we ultimately decide, because currently we require different type of talents. Post AI era, we require people that are very acute in visual senses, that are very creative. In fact, it's ironic now with AI taking over creativity, we need to be even more creative. So our entire task force needs to be very creative in how to solve problems with an already intelligent machine team. So yeah, I think it really requires us to be more creative than before, which really limits even the amount of people we can hire. We can't just hire a high quantity and expect high production, because now it's no longer about production. We don't need to do so much work, but the amount of work what we do has to be really top level with in combination with the AI. So yes, creativity is absolutely alive, and it's more urgent than ever to be creative in the creative domain post AI.
So there were two videos that I sort of came across on your profile, and I just wanted some context on what is actually happening in that video.
This one is interesting because we are modeling in virtual reality, and we are getting a visual feedback with AI diffusion model that is rendering our model in real time into a project based off of our text prompts. So basically, human is doing the first layer of details and AI is doing the second layer of detail, and the end video you see is post-processed with a third layer of details. So you basically get to visualize your process and your architecture while you're still manipulating the geometry.
So you've already put in text prompts relating to your context, relating to what you want the final
Yeah,
result to be, and within
yeah,
that you're
yeah,
just modeling.
yeah, exactly.
I feel like this could be an interesting exercise if it's used in many offices, if it's used especially in academic spaces, it'll be a new way to sort of now
Absolutely.
look at how you're designing things.
Yeah, we definitely explore quite a lot of this method in the early stage because you can feel the space in 3D. And when you sketch in 3D, you think spatially and you think programmatically. And that has an advantage over sketching in the traditional 2D environment. And with AI, it helps you visualize the output right away so you can get an understanding of how it would look like given those are your materials that you selected and that is the environment that you selected. So it's really a lot more information right at the first stage.
The other one, so tell me what is happening here.
Yeah, I mean, we are also very lucky to be one of the few architecture offices to really work hand in hand with big tech firms like Nvidia and Microsoft. And this one, they came to us for a collaboration to develop an app. And this was featured at the Autodesk University San Diego last year, where we developed our own application using most advanced Nvidia, what do you call it, the graphics card that they have, and also hosted on Microsoft Azure's clouds in order to produce this very rapid iteration of AI filter of a camera input. So you basically point to anything, you write the text prompt of what you wanted to convert to, and you have the feedback. And that was a process of us trying to get it to have as high frames per second as possible, as quick as possible. You can still see that there's a lot of limitation to see how fast things are,
Yeah.
but our goal was to just really develop this process, start it off, and in the later stage when compute becomes better, we're able to have the process almost instantaneous. So it really helps in a lot of settings. For example, if you have models, you want to prompt that into a real building, do a real live test model study, or you go on site, you want to change it, or you want to explore interior design, you want to change you go to your bedroom, you want to change the setting and make it look different, then you can prompt something and see how it looks. So that is an idea concept right now that we are developing further, and we hope that this becomes a tool that can be used to supplement all of the creative domain.
Do you think because of these AI tools and because of these experiments, do you see your office being a lot more playful in its approach towards architecture? Because when I see videos like that, when I see experiments like that, it takes me back to the initial years of college where you would just experiment with anything and everything. Do you think these tools sort of bring back that experimentation, or has it always been there?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree on that sentiment. I think for us it's important to experiment. We actually have our separate cluster now that we're starting STF labs, where it's focused solely on experimenting with new tools and new strategies. And yeah, we do take pride in how much fun we're having in the office. Because as you see day to day, we are experimenting new tools, we're exploring, and we're showcasing to the world. And because, AI is an explosion of opportunities. I really can't emphasize this enough. It's not like another tech or another software. AI is a new approach to design, a new approach to tool making, a new approach to thinking, and AI intersects with everything. So that's why we have such a wide breadth of things that we need to research, because we realize the urgency of it. When it overlaps with virtual reality, we want to explore how can we, find synergy with these two technologies. And when it overlaps with hand sketching, then we're like, okay, how do we hand sketch so that the AI interprets it immediately, or crumbling a piece of paper, and how do we convert that to architecture? Or we can think about, okay, how do we bring it on site? How do we analyze local construction? How do we plan our excavation of the site for construction and use AI and imagine the building right on top? Like, there's so many things. Everything we do now, we're thinking, can we overlap with AI? And how? And how do we partition our daily routine so that we have a section for experimentation and a section for project? Currently, our office is very, we want to be on the frontier. That's why experimentation is so important. I know a lot of, young architects, they work in companies where they really want to explore AI. I have many friends that work in that domain that has approached their directors that they say, oh, can we try something with AI? And they've been declined because they are afraid, the client is afraid, or the director is afraid that the clients will not accept. And there's a lot of resistance when it comes to AI still in today's industry, and I feel quite sad about that because the opportunity is immense. So for us, it is the opposite. Our philosophy is we want to embrace the technology as holistically as possible. We don't want to limit it in any way. So if it's going to be good at this, we're going to explore in this direction. It's going to be good at that, we're going to explore in that direction. We don't care if part of our process is being replaced, as long as it delivers and it does the job better than we do. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if it can take over what we value specifically in a particular aspect of a career, because if it can provide values more than us, then it is holding human values, and we are going to continue working with the machines to provide a better architectural service for everybody.
Before we end today's podcast, I have like two more questions. Firstly, and this might come back in a later podcast, do you have any prediction for the field of architecture, let's say 5 or 10 years from now?
Wow, okay. 5-year, 10-year predictions are much more difficult today to predict because things change so rapidly. But I can see that even within 2 years or so, most architecture firm will definitely be somewhat cognizant of AI and how to use it, at least in the ideation phase. That's really a must. Rendering process, I can see that's already currently being replaced, and in 5 years or so, we're probably not going to see a traditional CGI company again. That's just gone. That goes beyond architecture, goes into film, goes into possibly even music production. I can see so many ways AI has already taken over today that in 5 years, a lot of our contents that we consume will also be synthetically generated. So that being said, architecture itself is going to evolve. We are going to create spaces in a new way. Placemaking will be a human endeavor, I believe, but it will be driven by tons of AI iterations, AI visualizations, AI production, and AI construction. Robotics as well, and AI automation. That's going to take over the later stage of how potentially construction can be taking place. We're trying to expand on digital fabrication as a whole. as a domain. So I believe that a lot more robotic digital fabrication will be in place, where also research of synthetic biomaterials and alternative construction materiality will also be in place for these new approaches to construction, like 3D printing, like even drone brake assembly, or robotic arms, prefabrication logic that is just assembled on site, kit of parts. There's so many ways that we're going to modernize architecture in such a way that I think there's going to be a lot more robots, a lot more AI, and us humans will just sit back. We will be reduced. Our work will be reduced. But the important work is in driving the AI, is in the thought process. And of course, not everyone's going to be doing architecture. There's going to be less people involved. And I think that's okay, because we will maintain that to the top crowd who really wants to do the best. So in 5 years, it's going to be hard to say. I think we will see a better future for sure. I mean, at least in terms of design. Design will be superpowered by AI. So we believe good designers will be more superpowered by them. But in terms of everything else, we will never know. Wealth distribution, AI, technocracy. We don't know how it's going to change our industry politically and economically. And that's a bigger question that you can ask someone more expert than me in that field. Just in design, I think we're going to go through this revolution, and we will have a reduced amount of top talents, but they will do better.
Keeping that in mind, do you have any advice for, let's say, students or young designers who are entering this field now?
I've been teaching quite a lot in different universities, and I love engaging with students because they have the most unbound aspirations. And I think students, you guys should take advantage in the fact that you are a blank canvas. Sometimes when you learn too much in industries, it's ironic you have to actually unlearn to advance, to excel, and to adapt yourself in a revolution. And I think we are very much in the pinnacle of a revolution here when it comes to this technology that is AI. So I think if you're a student, you're very lucky to be in this time, because you can take what you learn from the professors and your teachers, but then you can take that knowledge and do your own research, get into AI, just use it every day. Use your large language models to help you excel in different tasks that you do on the daily. And once you are already someone who is very comfortable in the post-AI era, then you can think about how that is incorporated in design and architecture, or in any industry, whatever you're doing. I think it's about learning how to work with AI from now on. Same thing you would ask someone 10 years ago to embrace Google, embrace the search engine, don't be afraid of it. There was a movement against it, so you had to say, just use it, because learning is not pointless because Google has been invented. It's going to really excel what we do now. Same applies to a calculator. Every tool is good if it's helping us accomplish things better. So we just have to learn using these tools. So yeah, just explore. It's a very fun field to be in right now, and just don't be bound by any, traditional values that you may have, that you think architecture has to be practiced a certain way. We founded this company thinking that we want to challenge everything that is how architecture was practiced, so that we can understand where the revolution can take place.
I think that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, Tim, for taking out the time. Thank you so much for answering all the questions. By the way, guys, please keep this discussion going in the comments. And, every topic that we touched on today, let's sort of keep the ball rolling in the comments. It is always amazing to hear different opinions about the same. And thank you so much for your time, Tim.
Yeah, thanks, Rishabh.
So that was the podcast with Tim Fu. There were some really strong statements made today about AI and what its advancement would mean for the future of the profession. What do you think about what all we discussed? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts about it. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. But if you really liked it, do use the special thanks feature. That'll also let me know that you like this video and would like to see more videos like this. Also comment below if I should have Tim on again and any specific topic that we should discuss. Do share this video, do subscribe to Blessed Arc, and I will see you guys soon with more such content. Until then, bye bye.